Hello, what is up, guys? It is Keegan here. And quick intro today. We're playing Heat's TRoweprice in the Columbus Cabalions, and it's been a pretty hectic week schedule-wise for me. I'm actually at my parents' house right now, dog sitting for them. So, I'm recording this on the day it's supposed to be uploaded. So, it kind of gives a little bit of an insight into how my week has been going. If you guys haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. That's, the main way to help support the team and the channel throughout this season. But enough of that, let's get into the team. This is going to be, as I said, a quick video. Not going to get much time to edit this one, unfortunately. But next week we should be back with Wi-Fi, and then should be back with the full edited video. So, the team we're coming up against: Urshifu, Gengar, Rotom Heat, Tangrowth, Bronzong, Comfey, Swampert, Audino, Salamence, Galistopod, and Eldegoss. It's about time we ran into a threat that ended up being, the most dominant threat against us. Unfortunately, Urshifu, really does a lot of work against his team. If it's protective pads, especially Hippowdon, really can't, do a lot to, do a lot of damage to it and prevent it from coming in regularly. For example, you're going to see me run Rocky Helmet Hippowdon this week, kind of forcing the fact that he has to be protective pads in this matchup. Choice Scarf, Urshifu obviously does a lot, but it invites Hippowdon in to slack off, deal about 22% each time. And then, your utility, your Urshifu, goes down pretty quickly. Kind of the other main threats, Gengar does a lot of work against this team as well. I don't have a great switch in to Gengar. Diancie probably ends up being the best one, but Diancie in this matchup has some other roles that it's trying to accomplish. So maybe not going to be switching into Gengar all of the time. And then stuff like Rotom Heat, Tangrowth, the Bronzong, and Swampert, as a wall core, actually do a good job of holding the fort against my team. It forces me to make some predictions I wouldn't be necessarily comfortable with Torn T, albeit it does that, Wallcore can get, weakened down by Cinderace and Kartana, rather effectively. It requires a lot of predictions on my end, more so than other matchups that we've had, where we've kind of been able to force our opponents into a lot of undesirable situations. So, enough of this talk. Quick intro today. Let's get right into the team builder. Alright, we are here with the team builder against T-Row. This is the team we're going to be using. The one thing I've noticed, at least in this build, is that I've kind of had a little bit of a deterministic build prep. So you're going to see that here the teams are starting to look a lot similar every week, and that's a weakness I feel like in my game that I need to probably address in the weeks coming up. But my team, it feels almost like it builds itself every week in kind of similar ways, which is a little annoying if people start prepping against specific sets, take extra liberties against my team, knowing that they don't necessarily have to prep against full range of threats when I've kind of brought almost the same team every week. We are 3-0, so I mean, at the end of the day, it's not, not working, but I do feel like a little bit like we are kind of, maybe being a little deterministic with our prep here. So let's get into the first team. We have the Cinderace Jolly Cinderace here, classics, heavy duty boots set, U-turn, Power Ball, Super Fang, and Double Edge. Now the reason we have Double Edge here specifically is we want to move to hit the Salamence with at some point throughout the game. Double Edge does the most damage out of any of those moves, so realistically, U-turn, Power Ball, and Super Fang as a combination of three do most of the job. I was considering Court Change to move hazards. I don't really have a good way to set up hazards this game, but not many of my opponents have been bringing hazard stacking against my team, because I bring a lot of heavy duty boots on a lot of my mons, and I've been defocking. I have Torn T, so hazard stacking is not really super prevalent against my team. But yeah, this set, this is one of the things. It's like, how many different Cinderace sets can you bring? I mean, to be fair, I did bring a pretty interesting Cinderace set that in week 2 that didn't get to show off, but that's kind of one of the things I'm worrying about with this team right now, as you can see here. But Cinderace, I mean, it does the job. It it attacks everything with Power Ball. It puts a lot of pressure on common answers to this team. Tangrowth and Bronzong especially are Pokemon I want to be scared of coming into the matchup, and Cinderace forces that to happen. Wow, Choice Scarf Kartana once again. What a surprise. I'm bringing Choice Scarf Kartana. We have X Scissor here. It's not the only really difference on this set this week, but Knockoff, Leaf Blade, Smart Strike, and then X Scissor on this on this Kartana here. Just, a really good cleaner against my opponent's team. They do have Bronzong, obviously, so we do have to, threaten it with knockoff. Urshifu, it does need some damage, at some point for Leaf Blade, I would imagine. And then stuff like Salamence can come in on this pretty regularly. So Salamence is kind of, interestingly, going to be one of the better defensive Pokemon in this matchup for my opponent. But, hopefully the X Scissor, hopefully you can really whittle down those threats like Tangrowth, Bronzong, and Salamence, to give something like this a chance to, go off in the late game as a choice scarf. But, it's one of those things where, every team will always have answers to it, but it's just so powerful that, they have to overextend, their defensive walls, and once the late game comes, you can just clean out the entire build. Yep, what a surprise. Again, as I keep saying, Torn T heavy duty boots, offensive. We have a lot of defensive investment here to live one Stone Edge from Scarf Urshifu, which is the big threat on this team. U-turn, Hurricane, Sledge Wave, and knockoff. Sledge Wave is there for comfy. Basically, I could have had a move to hit Bronzong on this. I could have had Heat Wave, but I feel like U-turn, knockoff into U-turn on Bronzong and going into Cinderace or the Hippowdon are probably going to be so much better anyway. And, there is a potential chance it's heat-proof, but, not really, I don't think. So I think, we do have a lot of ways to deal with it. We do have Dracozolt, which can actually do a lot of damage to it as well on this team. So we'll get into that one in a second. But, yeah, I mean, I'm bringing the standard sets have been working. I'm not going to not use them with the opportunity. Now, Dracozolt here, this one will take a little bit more time on. Sandrush, Expert Belt, Draco Meteor, Flamethrower, Bolt Beak, and Stone Edge. This has really good coverage against the entire team, and it has a lot of super effective coverage against my opponent's team. It has almost a super effective move for basically every Pokemon, which makes me that or Draco Meteor or Bolt Beak just kill it, and that makes me want to use Expert Belt that allows me to preserve this long term. I don't have to take Life Orb damage, and this breaks through a lot of the common defensive threats that, while my team, Tangrowth, for example, can't actually do a switch into Flamethrower. Draco plus Flamethrower, unless it's full spit off Assault Vest, it really can't switch into that very effectively with, Mile 252. Bronzong obviously can't really deal with the Flamethrowers either, unless it's heat-proof, and it's heat-proof, then, I mean, Hippowdon just comes in and starts EQing it, which, probably less desirable for my opponent there. And then stuff like Salamence obviously get Dracoed on, and then, basically the rest of the team gets Dracoed on. So this might be the matchup I think we really see Dracozolt shine. We haven't seen it shine a lot this season, despite it being a very good threat. But I think this might be the matchup we actually see it go all the way. Now, Urshifu, as I mentioned, is the biggest threat on my opponent's team. And we go with Hippowdon here, Rocky Helmet, with Stealth Rock, Slack Off, Toxic, and Earthquake. Now, I assume Protective Pass is coming, mainly because of the fact that Choice Scarf, I don't think Choice Scarf Urshifu makes sense unless he wants it to be his Scarfer. With Gengar, I think maybe Gengar is a better Scarfer in this matchup specifically. So I think we'll see Protective Pass Urshifu to protect against this Hippowdon set, which I think would be, which I think, does a really good job of whittling down that Urshifu. It really limits the shelf life of that Pokemon. It has to come and take Sand and Rocky Helmet every time it comes in. I mean, that's not really going to be a useful Pokemon in the long term, especially when it gets outsped by Dracozolt in the sand. So I am expecting Protective Pads, but I am using Rocky Helmet anyway because I'm going to make sure that he actually has that Protective Pads. He has to have it in this matchup, and if he does, then you know what, my item is useless, but I think forcing him to have that item, I think, is the biggest thing in this matchup for now. Now, another Kaz special here. Another weakness policy set. I don't know what it is with Kaz recently and building these weakness policy sets. But Rotom Heat is an interesting Pokemon in this matchup. Another Pokemon that walls Kartana pretty effectively. But that is a Pokemon that does really well in this matchup specifically. And what this Diancie set does is allow you to Calm Mind on it and then take advantage of something like the Swampert or the Tangrowth coming in. With the Calm Mind plus, what is it called? The Weakness Policy. Basically nukes those Pokemon entirely. And especially with Tangrowth, that's a huge threat that we want out of the way early to enable Kartana to, to do a lot of damage and, force pressure with knockoff, etc. Swampert also a big Pokemon you want to get out of the way for something like Cinderace. That really opens up Cinderace's game in this matchup as well. So this is a really good way, not a way necessarily to sweep through the entire team. Urshifu comes in and Iron Heads this thing every time, but it does a good job of opening up the defensive, core that T-Row is probably going to bring. Netting a free kill. I mean, in the mock that I played against Kaz, if lead Rotom comes out, we just go straight into this, and then that picks up 1 kill right off the bat in the first few turns of the game. And then that's when, and especially with the defensive Pokemon, that's when you start to open up the play patterns for Cinderace, for Tornti, for the Kartana, for the Dracozolt to really go and take over the game. And then this just can set up, any time really on Rotom Heat, especially if Urshifu goes down. Because of the Draining Kiss, you can gain a lot of health. A lot of the calcs allow you to Moonblast plus Draining Kiss and kind of end up at, not full, but close to full after taking a super effective hit. So definitely a really good Pokemon there. And that is the team we're going up with against TRoweprice. But yeah, let's get right into the game. So our opponent TRoweprice here has brought Rotom Heat, Tangrowth, Urshifu, Swampert, Salamence, and Gengar. This is the exact configuration that came in the mock. And the lead matchup was Nasty Plot, Rotom Heat against the Hippowdon. So I want to bait that lead specifically. Any other lead I can switch into well. And that's the lead I want to specifically bait with the weakness policy Diancie. So I kind of want to get that position early, activate weakness policy, and clear a defensive threat. Either remove Swampert to open up the Cinderace, or remove the Tangrowth to open up the Kartana. I think he's going to be the best game plan. Now, Salamence was defensively oriented when in the mock, and I don't know if I expect a similar situation this time, but I don't know if I would I don't know if offensive Salamence is really required in this game. I think it's a good secondary check, defensive check to Kartana in certain situations that he'll probably try to leverage. Like, Dragon Dance doesn't really do much against Hippowdon. It gets checked pretty effectively by a lot of bulky, Diancies especially. So I think it's probably going to end up being a Wish defensive set. Swampert leads, that's perfectly fine. Not the lead I would have expected, but we have a pretty free switch here into Tornti. We can let them get the rocks up, which is perfectly fine. Most of our team every week is always on the boots anyway, so I'm not really too concerned about that. I'm expecting them to predict Grass Knot here, and I'm just going to knock off. Rotom Heat comes out, we get to see what item that is. Heavy Duty Boots, okay, so I don't know. So we know we can just U-turn on this thing efficiently, and I'm going to go into that Diancie. Diancie is just a really, really good way to deal with this. Yeah, I think I'm just going to go Diancie here. If my opponent Volt Switches, that's fine. And right here, I just get the freest Calm Mind of my life. Kind of anything that comes in, it doesn't really matter. Whether it's the Tangrowth or the Swampert, the weakness policy will proc. Draining Kiss will make sure that I gain enough health in that situation, since I am going to be calm-minded up. Yep, the Volt Switch comes out perfect. And this is the exact scenario that we were looking for. We're going to pick up Tangrowth, it looks like, which is very, very big. We're going to elect to go Draining Kiss first just to keep our health up. I could go Moonblast first. What is the damage calc on this again? I should probably remind myself, just so I can be mindful of that. Do I have this set in the builder? Yes, I do. Okay, perfect. I'm so smart and intelligent. Yeah, I can gain a lot of HP doing this. I'm just gonna elect a Draining Kiss. I want to make sure when the weakness policy is procced, that I have as much health to prevent, to actually attack again. Afterwards, Rotom Heat's gonna come out here. That's fine. And we can actually gain a shit ton of health off of that, which is like kind of interesting. Probably Pain Split here. We're just gonna Diamond Storm. It's interesting. It looks like T-Row is trying to play around this, and it's probably gonna go into Urshifu. Comes into the Swampert here actually. So we are set up to outspeed some Swamperts here. So the Stealth Rock Pivot, the default set. can't Earthquake, but we are at 73, we are at 68 speed. And you would need to have investment to live that. Drain Kiss, unfortunately, is not going to be able to get me out of range of this. Sadly, at the position I'm at. Well, let me see a +1. I can basically nuke this thing. I can choose to elect to nuke this. Draining Kiss only gets me about 30%. Actually, no, that does enough to live. I'm just going to elect to Draining Kiss. Flip turn. That is interesting. I guess. Well, I don't know if that necessarily worked out. T-Row was hoping, but we're going to get a lot of this health back. That's going to end up killing, and we're going to get back up to 32. So we removed the Rotom Heat, which was not the Pokemon that this was expected to remove. And this thing, we do know that it's at least 69 speed, which is nice. Funny, but they're likely probably going to elect to go for we're just going to elect to go for Draining Kiss as Flip Turn comes out again. And that gives us the initiative on this switch here as Gengar comes out. That is perfect. That gives us an opportunity to go into Choice Scarf Kartana and pressure this out with the knockoff. We really want to get a knockoff on something like Salamence or the Tangrowth here in the early game. This could be a Bait Colbur set, but I don't think that makes a lot of sense in the long term. Rocky Helmet, that's fine. So this is good news to know that this is Rocky Helmet, or was Rocky Helmet. So it was in mind for this Kartana. So we can pretty safely go into something like Torrentee here. We get to do a lot of damage. Our heavy duty boots get knocked off. That's fine, but now our opponent really does not have a switch into Hurricane here. Unfortunately for them, I assume Swampert is not going to want to come in and take this hit. Salamence can come in and take this hit actually pretty effectively, if it's especially defensive with the Wish. But I don't know if he wants to risk that much health. I could also just have Icy Wind and outspeed it next turn and just drop it from there. So kind of unfortunate for him. The one thing that is also difficult about this now is I'm now actually in range of Stone Edge from Choice Scarf Urshifu. I was actually EV to live one from full guaranteed. As Swampert is going to be the play here. That's kind of annoying that I missed that. So I can just knock off here. The fact that I don't have hazard removal is a little frustrating. I kind of want to knock this off. So I'm expecting a Flip Turn here. To try to get some momentum back, so I'm just going to knock off. That's a crit. Yeah, Flip Turn for momentum. Yeah, that's expected there. And now anything that comes in, we're going to end up being faster than, and we can get some regenerator back. So this is really good as well. It allows something like the Cinderace to be a better way to pressure that Swampert. Now we're going to go straight into Powdon here. We really want to learn if this is protective pads or if this is Choice Scarf. That kind of changes our checks. If it's protective pads, then the Torrentee is a check every single time to this thing, and then pressures a lot of switches. If it's Choice Scarf, then we have to we set up Sand. It takes the Rocky Helmet from Hippowdon plus the Sand, so it starts taking a lot of damage, and then that's something like Tracheozolt will end up being kind of our check to that in the end. So Wicked Blow does about 32. He takes Rocky Helmet and Sand, so I'm going to guess that this is Choice Scarf. And now I want to get really, really aggressive here. I want to hit Toxic. I don't expect Gengar to come in. That would just be, a little ridiculous. I'm just going to expect something like Tangrowth to come in here. Just kind of the middle ground play. And we get the free Toxic off. Let me think about this, actually. Slack Off might be the better play. Gives me longevity. Against this thing, I do still have a free switch in. Yeah, I'm just going to actually slack off here. Swampert comes out. Would have been nice to get a Toxic on Swampert, but I think preserving the HP on this Pokemon is kind of the primary, kind of my primary priority here. As it looks now, it's going to deal 22% to Urshifu every time it comes in. So from here, Kartana is opening itself up really nicely, knowing that. I go straight into Torrentee. The thing is, Torrentee, if it comes out, he doesn't really have a good way to punish my Tornadus T. I can elect to go in hard Tracheozolt. That does not seem good. Though the Tangrowth actually can't, really do much about that. flip turn. I can't just slack off here in response to a flip turn. Should be able to live any hit here. And he's just going to elect a Toxic. That's actually really interesting. Not sure how I feel about that play from my opponent's end, but I expect flip turn to come out here now. So flip turn comes out here now. I just go into Torn T. Yeah, I'm just going to go Torn T. The Salamence comes out interesting. I was considering tossing it, but we do see that this is an Intimidate set, so this is likely, you know, very, very defensively oriented. And now we can just go. We can click Knockoff. We're at the point now where Expert Belt Dracozolt actually kind of tears through most of my opponent's team. And like I can, you know, relatively threat this. I'm just going to U-turn though. Icy Wind obviously, you know, threatens this thing. If he elects to stay in, the problem is if he stays in, I'm in a little bit of a world of hurt. But I can't really take a hit either. And the Sandstorm is going down as well, so I have to actually... I can't actually set that up this turn, unfortunately. I am just going to elect to knock off, actually, see if we can get the heavy-duty boots off. There we go. Hydro Pump. Yeah, this set came in the mock. And now we get to just U-turn off of this thing for free. So now it doesn't have heavy-duty boots. And now the Hydro Pump, which I wouldn't say we predicted, but it was kind of a thing to be potentially expected, has shown up. So let's just U-turn off of this thing, get some more damage. I expect the Roost here. And go into Powdon. Actually, let's check this. Let's get the Sand up here. I'm going to take a Hydro Pump. He's going to elect to Wish. That's fine. I'm just going to go straight back into the Torn T here. Wow, that is actually really, really troll. Oh, I feel bad about that situation. I kind of want to sack this off because now Dracozolt, I want to get into a position to actually do stuff with Dracozolt here. Because now he doesn't have a Draco switch in. So I'm just going to Hurricane. Force Hero to actually kill this. Wow, that does 50%. Interesting. Actually does a lot. And now we bring in Dracozolt. Now we start actually picking up kills here. So nothing switches into the Draco Meteor, so we just drop it. And then we pick up a kill here. We don't get to start picking up 2 yet, unfortunately. But now we just kind of at this point are going to cycle through our kind of offensive options here and just try to kill as many things as we can. There's no reason to overpredict. I do have Expert Belt Flamethrower, but Draco Meteor into the Flamethrower with Expert Belt should kill. Swampert comes out, this should just die. Wow, it doesn't die. Interesting. But it should die to the... It doesn't die to the second one either. I assume this does not have Rest. That would kind of be a little ridiculous. But it probably Earthquakes here. This thing being spit off was a little annoying. The fact that Diancie didn't get to do a lot of damage is problematic. I do need to preserve this. I think Cinderace is my least useful member of my team at this stage of the game. Yeah, I think it's going to be my least useful member because this is going to only do half and it's only going to do 20. So if they elect a flip turn, then we can be fine. Yep, Earthquake, that was expected. Now we get to bring out Choice Scarf Kartana and deal some damage. Now, it's an interesting choice here whether we Smart Strike. So I think this game might be a loss, unfortunately. Am I adamant Choice Scarf? Hold on, let me actually make sure I know my set. No, I'm Jolly Choice Scarf here, unfortunately. So Swampert is knocked off, unfortunately. So Spidef doesn't die to Smart Strike. So I kind of have to potentially play this safe. I expect him to save this because it's a good answer. How much does X Scissor do? X Scissor does kill, so I think X Scissor is actually my safest play here. It prevents Tangrowth from coming in. Salamence, the problem with Salamence I think is the obvious switch. Like Tangrowth is kind of the obvious switch, but that's the obvious prediction. But the thing is, I kind of don't mind if Salamence comes in, because then I can sack off the Hippo, start getting some kills. So I'm just going to X Scissor. Hopefully try to either pick up the Tangrowth or pick up this kill specifically. Wow, Tangrowth comes in. It's kind of perfect. And then we just get to X Scissor again. Oh my god, yeah, I'm so good at the game. Oh my god, I'm so good at Pokemon. Oh, what a fucked up day. What a fucked up day. Alright, in comes this. I'm assuming, I'm just gonna get, what is it called? I'm just gonna get Hydro Pumped here, but that's fine. Wow! You know what? Winners win. I don't care. You know what? That's feels pretty bad for T-Row, but shit. If you're gonna go 4-0, you're gonna need luck along the way, I think, for the most part. And this is a matchup I think that I would say my plan went a little bit off the rails early on, and I think I could have played around it better. But now the wish comes out here. So now the question is what does something come out here in response to this? I'm assuming I'm just gonna get Hydro Pumped. Like, this is kind of the logical assumption that I have. I could get really, really aggressive and go into Dracozolt here, but I don't like that. Dude, I'm just, I feel so bad, honestly, for fucking T-Row here. I'm like, this is so troll. Like, this game is actually like a violation of, like, Pokemon. I'm just gonna set up my rocks. Doesn't matter anyway. Now we get 3 turns to go crazy with the Dracozolt here. I wanted to calc a Bolt Beak specifically with this thing. I should probably actually input this specific set. I think I might actually lose this game still, no cap. But, Dracozolt. So Salamence is going to die to anything. Because everything dies to Bolt Beak, actually, if I just drop a Draco here. Yeah. Yeah, that's... that's fair. That's fair. I'm not going to complain too much about that. It would have allowed me to pick up 1 kill, but I think that evens out kind of the hacks. What an awful game of Pokemon on all sides. For hacks, like truthfully cringe gameplay. So now the question is what does T-Row want to go into? What does he expect my set to be? Really? Okay, this is the play. I assume it's going to be faster, but I kind of just have to attack. Oh my, what is it? Dude, this is the most troll game, honestly, I think I've ever seen in my entire life. What a game, honestly. What a game of Pokemon that this happened to be, truthfully. Can I even kill this thing with anything? You know what? Unfortunately, we're going to go to 3-1, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. It is what it is. Well, hold on. Okay, hold the phone here. Hold on. This is a roll. Okay, this is a roll. Fuck! I didn't get the roll. I got curse bodied anyway. God damn it. Oh, that's funny. Oh, that's funny. What a chaos game. What a chaotic game that was.